Hello, and welcome to the third episode of Nerds on Nerdy Stuff, the video cast with Josh
and Ben.
We've got a few interesting topics today. We're going to start out with the most nerdy of them all, I think. Legendary just acquired the film rights to King Kong.
Yeah.
And if you're as well versed as we are, you know what that means.
Might see King Kong vs. Godzilla pretty soon.
Yeah, Legendary owns the film rights for Godzilla as well. So we might get a remake of the King Kong versus Godzilla movie from the 60s.
That's the rumor floating around right now, and it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, that's be really, really cool.
That's a bigger team up than the Avengers, if you ask me.
That's more important than the Avengers by far.
It's at least on par with Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, cinematically, it's going to be like if the Ten Commandments and Spartacus were one movie, and better somehow. Yeah. Because King Kong versus Godzilla is going to be
biblical
in proportions. That's a perfect spin.
Yeah.
But
the other spin to that, the other franchise possibly that
Legendary also owns Pacific Rim.
Which
would be pretty
We saw them
neat.
Fighting big monsters once.
Yeah,
why
so
not
make
a couple more big monsters?
Just throw them all into one big hodgepodge of kaiju
so good.
versus King Kong. You wouldn't call him a kaiju, I guess. You just call him a giant friggin' ape. That's all he is.
Well, King Kong versus Godzilla versus kaiju with big Jaegers coming in to beat the crap out of all of them.
It's like an anime wet dream mixed with like Western culture somehow.
Would the Jaegers team up with Godzilla?
Yeah, no, I think King Kong would, because Kong is he's always been a good guy. He's never been a bad dude.
He's always been misunderstood.
Yeah, he's like anybody else.
Godzilla, after this last movie, he's kind of understood.
Yeah,
he's known as saving San Francisco, even though San Francisco was leveled.
Smashed.
But, I mean, they had news reports about him pretty much being a hero because...
Yeah, the savior of the city, like the little tagline at the bottom.
Kind of a hero.
I think they'd all team up together because you can't demonize one of them because they're all like heroes in their own movies. So you'd have to have them all be good guys. Otherwise it wouldn't be fun.
All except for the kaiju?
Well, the other random bad person or object, whatever it's going to be, if it even comes to pass.
Right.
Which it should make it happen. But they're going to have to scale up King Kong or scale down Godzilla, too.
They'll scale up.
From Peter Jackson's King Kong. Like, he was, I don't know, 25 feet tall.
He's not going to be Godzilla's size. There's no way.
But, if they're going to do, like, a versus match, they have to, because Godzilla is, like, 300 feet tall.
Unless he just teams up with T-Rex and then has a bunch of...
He rides a T-Rex.
Unless he has Jurassic World,
Ooh,
Godzilla,
Jurassic World.
King Kong, Pacific Rim.
We're writing it for you, Hollywood. Just make it happen. You're welcome for the billions upon billions of dollars you make.
You have our email address.
Yeah, you have $1 million in a script right there.
So, yeah.
But speaking of remakes, some other news broke this week, too, that's...
A little more skeptical.
We're a little more skeptical of it, and it's a little more disheartening, too, because it's...
Well, it's Roadhouse, and,
Roadhouse is perfect the way it is, right? You think?
It's a perfect movie. It still holds up. It's still, like, that great...
Oscar-worthy. The one scene where he drives the monster truck through the car dealership. Come on. Cinematography in that alone. I wept.
It was a great movie. I mean, it's a horrible movie, but it's great, and it's fun, and it still holds up just to watch on a lazy Saturday.
Yeah.
But
I'm not opposed to the remake of it, though, because it could be interesting with a modern spin. But the fact that they apparently cast the lead role, that was Swayze's.
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Stoneface Rousey.
Well known for beating up women in the UFC very well.
Yeah, she's a great fighter, tremendous athlete, all that garbage.
Beating up people in movies very poorly.
But she cannot act. Like you saw her in the last Fast and Furious. She's like,
Furious 7, and
I was waiting for this party to get exciting. She sounded like Will Ferrell's character being Janet Reno. Like, welcome to my dance party. Like, that's exactly what she sounded like.
Furious 7 and Expendables 3 are the two movies she has under her belt. And she played the exact same role.
And she is not going to be good as an
badass
actress.
Female fighter fighting in a dress.
She might be good eventually. I mean, like, Channing Tatum started out as a shitty actor.
Yeah.
But he's gotten progressively better because he's working on his craft. So it's not to say that she couldn't be good eventually. But right now, she's not the person to be like your lead actor. She's not
not lead material at all.
She doesn't have the charisma or the charm.
And I don't know who else could lead anyway. There's nobody that's on Patrick Swayze's level.
Yeah, I think Dalton was the character's name.
Right, Dalton.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I bring back Sam Elliott. I mean, I don't see him doing that again.
The mustache needs to ride again.
There's nobody that can fit his role either. Like unless they bring back
Sam Elliott
or Nick Offerman. But
Yeah, Nick Offerman would be kind of cool, but he doesn't have the voice, though.
if they do a more comedic twist to it, it would be an interesting.
Yeah, like a 21 Drum Street spin on Roadhouse, which
That could work. That might be the only way it works. Is if they're tongue in cheek about it.
yeah,
and
I
whatever.
could see that. That'd
Yeah.
be pretty neat. But also dropping this last week, you might not be as familiar with it as we are. Ben's got a bit of a hard-on for this Christmas character.
Krampus. I love Krampus. It's the
Yeah.
idea. It's Santa Claus but evil, and it's just fun. It's
Yeah.
a demonic version of Santa Claus. It's a counterpart in Europe to Saint Nicholas, pretty much.
Yeah, like for all the naughty kids, if you're bad, you don't just get a lump of coal, you get visited by the Krampus, which probably tortures you or does whatever other European things they don't like having freedom or whatever else.
Yeah. The movie looks alright. It's directed by the same guy that wrote Superman Returns and X2 and X-Men Apocalypse even. He was a co-writer on.
Yeah, he directed another horror movie, like another anthology movie called Trick or Treat. You might have seen it, you might not have. It's on Netflix most of the time, but it's not a bad little flick. It's got Anna Paquin in it, Brian Cox, but it's like probably 3 or 4 shorter films, but they all kind of like bleed together into one like shared thing. It's pretty good.
The cool thing about Krampus, though, is Adam Scott, and he's been in a lot of cool stuff. Parks and Rec, you know him from, as Ben Wyatt.
And Step Brothers.
Step Brothers, Secret Life of Walter Mitty for a little
More
asshole
dramatic
twist.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things he's been in recently is really nerdy, podcast nerdy. It's You Talking You Two to Me, but that's a separate thing. He's one of my favorite people out there right now.
Yeah.
But we've also got Toni Collette from United States of Terra and
Little Miss Sunshine.
Little Miss Sunshine, she's good in.
And the Way Back, too. She was the mom in that movie.
Yeah, shit, that was a good movie, too. Alison Tolman we've seen from Fargo, the first season on FX, not the movie. And David Koechner, who's always fun to watch.
He's great, yeah. We'll put a link to the trailer in the description, too. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's...
Because Koechner, he's looking to be the heel, like just the asshole brother-in-law kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the movie to us looks entertaining enough. Like, it's just a trailer. We don't know if it's going to be good or not.
It looks fun. It's either going to be horrible or pretty good.
It might be a Mecha Gremlins kind of spin, too, because where it's like a horror comedy.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're treading the line pretty well, at least from the trailer, because they're throwing one-liners and jabs and stuff like that. But it's still like, there's a pretty big tension-building scene in the trailer where like a child is trapped underneath the car and she just kind of sees the hooves of the Krampus like walking around.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just really, really tense and really cool. So it's shot interestingly enough, too.
I do love the idea of another Christmas horror movie out there. There aren't many of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Christmas. Nothing bad's gonna happen on Christmas.
So moving on to other announcements from this week, we've got The Spectre, the next James Bond movie. The theme song, writer, performer.
It's going to be Sam Smith.
Sam Smith, you might know from Stay With Me, and he was on the Disclosure song.
Every 5 seconds on the radio, you might recognize his voice.
Huge Grammy winner last year.
Yeah.
So that's why he's, of course.
He's
British and he's a Grammy winner, so he's top of the list anyway.
That's how it's done with the Bond theme songs the last at least 10, 15 years. Like they had Adele for the last one, like you said.
The cool thing is he's the first British male solo artist for 50 years. Last one was Tom Jones.
Really? Huh.
And that was
Thunderball.
Yeah.
Thunderball.
Yeah. Tom Jones, I mean, that's the last British solo. We had Paul McCartney, but he was with Wings for Live and Let Die.
Now, did Tom Jones work in What's New Pussycat to the James Bond theme song? I'm not familiar with the Thunderball theme.
It's pretty straightforward.
That's too bad.
Thunderball. It's pretty much Skyfall, but Thunderball.
That's true, yeah.
But
Adele.
So this song will be called Writings on the Wall.
Yeah.
And we'll see it come out for streaming and download end of September 25th.
Yeah, because the movie's not coming out till
December.
Pretty
much Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas time. Around the same time Star Wars is. Good luck with that, James Bond.
But
Climb that mountain.
I'm a Bond fan, and I love all the music from it. As horrible as the Madonna song is, I still love it all.
It's always produced really well, and it ties into the film as well. So you might get some cues to the plot from the film or from the song as well.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Yeah, that's a big jump in speculation, to be honest with you.
But it's apparently already written and ready to go, so we'll see it pretty soon. Coming up on TV, we've got a couple things.
Yeah, on TV, Seth Rogen let leak out on, was it Twitter, I guess, that AMC picked up Preacher for a full season order.
Full season of Preacher, the comic book that probably should never be made for TV, but is going to be anyway.
Offends damn near everybody and anybody associated with religion in general.
The fact that it's not on Showtime or HBO.
Yeah, that's the crazy part too. But AMC is kind of famous for doing
Yeah.
boundary pushing
They've
shows
got
like
The Walking Dead. That's a
Breaking Bad.
big time comic book movie or comic book TV show. So it kind of fits in that kind of
that niche,
genre.
I guess, because like they're looking to not push buttons so much, but like push the boundaries of accepted television,
right.
which they're gonna do with this graphic novel because it's
gonna push every boundary. But it's
yeah.
it's dark, twisted,
Yeah.
offensive.
I mean, one of the main
Hilarious.
characters is called Arseface, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, kid tried to shoot himself in the face and
And
didn't
ended up
succeed.
surviving, yeah. And
Has a butthole
so he has
for a face
resembles a butthole for a face.
Yeah, they've already released some pictures of him online from
Yeah.
their makeup, and we'll
It
see how
looks-
he looks on the screen. But it could be interesting.
Yeah.
But we got Dominic Cooper playing. You know him from
Playing-
as Howard Stark. He's playing Jesse
Custer.
Custer. That's right. As the main role of Preacher.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a few other people that aren't really well known in it, but it's got a pretty decent cast, I think, and it could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's
If you're into the darker, like, graphic novel based stuff too on TV, you should give it a watch. It's pretty entertaining.
yeah, for sure. It's check out the comic. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
more
comic
importantly,
is
check out the
definitely
comic.
worth checking out. Whether or not you check out the show, the comic is
Off the rails.
It's so let's just say this guy's an ex-preacher and becomes
An alcoholic.
an alcoholic, and he eventually somehow obtains the voice of God, and he can control anything if he uses it correctly. And
Yeah, like he'll say he can speak in his normal voice,
right,
but then he like channels the voice of God, and he can literally command you to do anything. He can say like stand on one leg or go butt your head into that tree,
Or
and
go
you,
fuck
you
yourself.
would just and you would literally
it's
just do
it's
it.
in
Yeah.
that first volume of the comic. It's in there,
Mhm.
but it's pretty much the son of, or the child of a demon and an angel is a big part of the role, a
Yeah.
big part of the whole
story,
plot
yeah.
line, and it's
how they actually do the voice of God too, which could be pretty interesting
that'd be
to make, because he's gonna have his regular voice for speaking to the other characters,
right.
but then when he channels that could be really cool how they do like the sound design for it, and
Yeah.
make it like really big and booming and stuff. Because in the comic books, it's written like in a dark red bold ink whenever he's using the voice of God too,
everything
so it's
is
really
Face,
interesting.
his face turns real intense, and his eyes are
Like,
just,
yeah, they go bloodshot or whatever.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. But yeah, but moving on to other comic book related stuff too. The fallout of Marvel's big crossover event from this last summer, the Secret Wars. One of them is going to be Totally Awesome Hulk.
Yeah, and he's already been a character in the Marvel comics. Like up until this point, we didn't know who
That
the
person
Hulk
who's
was,
going to
I
be
think.
Totally Awesome Hulk is going to be Amadeus Cho, who has been established in the Marvel canon as one of the smartest
like
people
a
in there.
younger Korean American guy. That's
Yeah, he's like
got
a kid, like a teenager, like
Yeah.
13, 14 years old.
yeah, he's self-proclaimed fourth smartest person in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, but every single one of everyone else in the Marvel universe, Banner included, Reed Richards, they all like placed him on different spots in that list, like 6th or 8th or even 10th. But it bounces around back and forth. Like it's more of this like a morale booster for Amadeus Cho than anything
Right.
else. Like because Bruce Banner, the Hulk, has shifted him like north once or twice just to like boost his morale too. It's kind of funny how they do it.
The other cool thing about this comic, besides having a Korean American frontman, is we're gonna have a Korean American co-creator writer. That's Greg Pak.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be drawn by Frank Cho, another Korean American. So that's what we're seeing is Marvel spreading out its diversity.
Yeah, they've had
As of recently.
as of late, they've had a lot of different ethnically diverse characters. With the new Miss Marvel is a Pakistani American
Right.
girl,
From Jersey.
yeah, Kamala Khan from like Jersey City. So like they have folded that into the Marvel universe too. Like
We've got
lots
the
of
female Thor. And
yeah,
we've
female
got,
Thor.
We've got Miles Morales sticking around as
yeah,
Spider-Man.
he's like the one remaining factor from the Ultimate Universe collapse. Another
Yeah.
like, victim of the Secret Wars event.
And then Sam Wilson as
Captain
Falcon
America
and
too,
then
yeah.
Captain America.
So they're taking real strides. I'm not sure if it's just being like pandering, but they're being written well. So I don't think it's going to be pandering in the long run.
The other cool thing about Amadeus Cho is we've already seen his mom.
Yeah, in
movies.
the MCU, we've seen his mom, Dr. Helen Cho. She was the one that
Helped
created the
create Vision, pretty
technology.
much.
Yeah, she created that technology, the casket thing.
Yeah, that whole thing where you saw Vision pop out of the casket, she was a big part
yeah,
of
she was
developing that.
she was the actress that was playing that, or
So
she was the
that's-
character. Sorry.
That's Helen Cho, and we maybe a few decades down the line we'll see an Amadeus Cho.
I don't think they might just be pulling the name though too, because like
may not ever see
they
it. But there's hope.
Unless she's like offhand. By the way, I have a son,
Yeah.
Amadeus. He's playing with blocks over here.
Some little kid with a faux hawk.
Yeah, don't mind him. He's sequencing DNA right now.
Like
His
green
homework.
light
Yeah.
behind him or something.
Yeah, he's building like a mech suit to rival Iron Man.
The other announcement this week though was Red Wolf, who we've seen him in Secret Wars recently,
Yeah, he had a
And-
bit of a resurgence in there.
and he hasn't had his own comic since the 70s.
Yeah,
But we're seeing him come back as his own comic. I think this week was his first run, the first issue. I don't know much about the character, but we're getting an Indian major character.
yeah, Native American major
and he's
character.
co-written, I think, or he's one of the artists, I believe, is actually Native American Jeffrey Varegi.
Yeah, we're gonna butcher some names. Just
Yeah.
heads up out of the gate here.
But he's Indian from the Northwest, and he's I like the art that I've seen from
Yeah.
him so far. Like the cover is pretty cool. And
Real cool
there's an
style. Yeah.
alternate cover probably done by, I don't know if that was done by Toliver Dalajic, but well, it seems like it could be a good add-in for
Yeah, just
series.
more diversity never hurts
Right.
at all. So
And-
it's a good thing to see that too.
there's a lot to pull from with the Indian kind of mythology.
Yeah, with skinwalkers and God
Legends.
knows what else they can pull out of the mythology too.
But sticking with Marvel,
The feature this week, you know how we've been exposed to at least 4 of the Infinity Stones in the Marvel
right,
Cinematic Universe.
We've
Seen the
Space.
Tesseract, which is the space gem.
seen the Reality Gem, which is the Ether.
Yeah, the ether from Thor: The Dark World.
We've seen the Power Gem from Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
the orb. And the Mind Gem we saw most recently in
And Age of Ultron
on Vision's forehead.
Yeah, stuck on Vision's forehead.
Right there. And that's all we've seen so far.
But that leaves 2
and
more
so
gems.
We know where they're all at. We
Yeah.
know the Tesseract is on Asgard, locked up in their vault. We know the Ether is with the Collector and Nowhere. We assume in Nowhere.
Yeah, because his
Unless
base
he's
was
secretly
destroyed
moved.
during that explosion in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
But we're going to assume, since it wasn't disclosed to us directly, that it's still safe somewhere floating around there.
And we've got Nova Corp holding on to
The Power Gem.
Power Gem.
As in Guardians of the Galaxy again, too.
And of course, we just said
The,
Vision's
the Vision's
We just see that. and
secured
it's-
the Mind Gem.
He's
yeah.
not going anywhere yet.
But that leaves 2 still
Two of
floating around that we haven't seen yet in the Marvel Universe. So we're just going to take our guesses and stabs as to where they're going to appear.
We got the Soul Gem.
Yeah, I think the Soul Gem is going to be a really cool tie-in to Doctor Strange, personally.
That could be cool. I mean, traditionally in the comics, the Soul Gem is tied with Adam Warlock, who we haven't seen yet, and we haven't really heard any plans of yet. But he's going to come into the fold eventually.
He's going to come into the fold for sure. I think I'm still going to stand by this too. The little chrysalis in the Collector's base or whatever. I think that's going to be his pod. If you're not familiar with Adam Warlock,
And I'm not.
he's Don't worry, a lot of people aren't. Like scientists calling themselves the Enclave created him as like a perfect human being, pretty much like sinless, clean, all that kind of stuff. He eventually rebels, but before he rebels, he gets bonded with the Soul Gem. So it makes sense in the comics for him to have the Soul Gem because he's bonded with it. But for the movie universe, I think how they're going to do a more ethereal Doctor Strange, I think it could actually be his amulet. If you're not familiar with Doctor Strange either, he always has like these relics in different books and whatever else. But one of his most familiar relics is the Eye of Agamotto, which I think would be an easy way to throw in, like in the center of the Eye of Agamotto.
It
is the
seems
Soul
like it's
Gem.
it's already written.
That's a
itself pretty
no-brainer,
much.
yeah.
It's got to be that whole amulet has to tie in somehow, and it doesn't make sense to throw in more magic when we have all this stuff building up anyway. And we see Doctor Strange before we see Infinity Wars,
Yeah,
so it makes sense for him to have
like the
Soul
last
Gem.
bit, like the last stone to get, it would be like the Soul Gem, which would be kind of cool too.
So where does that put the Time Gem?
I think the Time Gem is going to be with Adam Warlock. If they introduce Adam Warlock, because it's not a waste of a character so much, but I think they should introduce him because like they don't know who Star Lord's dad is. That's one thing too. Like
Yeah,
an
like this theory.
ancient something we don't recognize. So like the Nova Corps didn't recognize maybe the fact that Adam Warlock's DNA was clean and fresh and a perfect being or whatever else,
Right.
and he hasn't been introduced yet too. And maybe that would be the reason why Star Lord's Peter Quill's mom got cancer too, because she's exposed to some weird radiation that
Yeah,
emanated from him or something too.
space radiation.
Yeah, cosmic rays caused him to mutate.
I like that theory a lot. I like the idea of Adam Warlock being Peter Quill's dad,
Yeah, that makes more sense too.
and it would just serve as a huge tie-in to keep it simple. It would be a simple way for them to drop in a new character on us.
Yeah, and like a really clean way to interject him right into the MCU.
Right, and that time gem could be why he hasn't withered away.
Maybe he's been traveling in time. That's why he hasn't been around. That could be that's what the time gem allows you to do. Like we explained, the soul gem lets you capture people's souls and manipulate them and all that stuff.
Right, which is very Doctor Strange.
Yeah, which is very Doctor Strange stuff. But the time gem allows you to travel time and see alternate timelines and alternate futures in the past.
And stay young without...
It allows you to do that too, yeah. It would make perfect sense and easy for him. Like, oh, I've been gone. I've been searching the time stream. Sorry, I've been hanging out in the TARDIS with Doctor Who.
But regardless of all that, we've seen at the very end of this Age of Ultron special feature on the DVD...
Yeah, we
saw Thanos with the big gauntlet.
Yeah.
And each stone was in place.
Yeah, but in the Age of Ultron, in like the little stinger in the mid-credit scene or whatever, he reaches into the vault and he goes like, "Well, fine, I guess I'll get it myself."
Fine. I'll do it myself.
And he pulls it out, but the holes for all the stones, they're all gone.
None over there, but we've seen it now. As we'll put the picture.
Yeah, fully CGI'd up. Yeah.
We got the full gauntlet with all the pictures or all the stones in there.
Yeah. So I think the Eye of Agamotto is going to be the soul gem.
That's a cool idea.
That would be perfect too, because like that's why how Doctor Strange would tie into the whole cosmic stuff too, because magic and science have a hard way of interacting, but like that'd be a cool way to do it.
And maybe Adam Warlock is just clutching his time stone.
Yeah, he has the time stone and he's using it, or it's in the chrysalis too, and no one even realizes it.
Yeah.
Because maybe it hides the energy signatures or some garbage like that.
Could be.
Some sciencey garbage like that, another nerd stuff.
Right.
But on that note, all that speculation, we're going to go ahead and end this week's episode. Find us on Twitter, Nerds on Nerdy. Email us at nerdsonnerdystuff@gmail.com. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you guys later.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah, have a good week. See ya.
Bye.